Okay. Here in late August of 2017, Hypnotist to Hypnotist, interviewing Tom Nicoli. What more can I say? Just the
Well, I'm
name
sure
alone.
there's a lot more you could say.
Well, for those of you who might not know Tom, Tom is a well established hypnotist who owns Better You Hypnosis. We're filming this from, or taping this from New Hampshire actually, and that's where your practice is, right?
This is it. This is
And
where we live. This is where we play. This is where we help people and teach and enjoy this thing we call life.
yeah, yeah. Well, I love your philosophy of hypnosis and of life. You have truly a perspective based on wisdom, based on experience. Um, I've always thought of you as somebody who thinks a good deal about this modality, and
Hmm.
that's what I think this modality is largely about too, as well as some others. You know, just the idea of being creative with it, being able to come up with new perspectives, new ideas, new ways of doing things. And so, talk about um, Master Vision and also Better You Hypnosis, how you got started. Let's start
Okay.
there.
Well, there's a lot there, actually. Master Visionary is something rather new, and it's personal development coaching, be it personal or professional. And it's to reconnect to the Master Visionary within us all. As we know, when you live with vision rather than sight, and you live with a whole different approach with a bigger picture view, I'm getting bees buzzing here. But when you get a bigger picture view and your perceptions are much different than narrow, limited focus and, jeez,
You like you.
I know. Anyway, but a better you was there since the beginning when I first got certified, and that was in 1999. But I had studied what we call hypnosis previously because I had read a marketing book. Well, it wasn't even a book; it was a three-ring binder with some printed pages, called Part-Time Riches, and it said you haven't succeeded because you're reading this. I mean, you wouldn't be reading this material if you had succeeded in any way in marketing. And it said it's not because of lack of action, because you're reading this. It's how you think. And it gave a mental exercise that I started applying. Guided imagery, visualization. Not guided imagery, but on your own. So visualization. And I used it for exercise. And I was astounded. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. And I remember once I said, I'm not going to exercise. I was doing full mouth reconstruction, dental technology then. I was a dental technician. And I'd come home just spent, long, long, long days of racking your brain. And I intentionally was not going to exercise, but somewhere along the way it dawned on me that I had changed and I was exercising. I don't remember changing, and I don't remember making a choice to do so.
Hmm.
My choice consciously was I'm not going to. I'm going to lie on the couch and watch TV all night. And this is a bunch of years ago, right? So then I started using it, and I started talking to the employees I was managing, and it really had an effect. And I was just saying, just close your eyes and imagine this for a moment, in the coffee room. And then I thought, well, I've been a musician since I was 10, and I'll be 58 next month, so I've been playing music for a long time. And before I could drive, I was playing out in bands in the club circuit. As long as I got my A's, my dad let me go do that. So I thought, let's join the two together. This hypnosis thing, being on stage. I love it up there. So I found, I grew up in the Boston area, and in New Hampshire, there was the home base for the NGH, National Guild of Hypnotists, which I saw was the oldest and biggest organization. So I thought, okay. And there was an instructor in the city I was living in. So I went and talked to him, and he said, yeah, I could teach you that, but there's another way of using this process. And when he talked about helping people, that was it. And I came home, and I was going to go down and talk to him for about 20 minutes, and I came home about 2 hours later. And I said, I'm going to be a hypnotherapist. And you know what follows that is a what? And that was 1999. And now here it is 2017, and there's something I've created that people in 75 countries have downloaded and used.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And it all started with this this subconscious move towards something that really wasn't all that planned. I mean, it just happened organically because that's the way I think I experienced
Most
it
of
too.
us do, right?
Yeah.
Or you have a profound effect using this process, and then you decide to get into the profession.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wasn't like that with me. It just, God works in mysterious ways, or
Right.
the universe is very indirect.
Right. No, there was no master plan in my thinking. It just sort of happened organically, and maybe that's the best way because your subconscious, I guess, is directing you towards this outcome, right?
Or maybe it's divine guidance. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
You
I'm
end up
open
where
to
you're
that.
supposed to be sometimes
Yeah. Yeah.
if
It's
you
interesting.
listen.
So, what do you find is most rewarding about it after all these years? What touches your
Well,
heart?
here's an immediate reward. We're sitting here on a Monday.
Right.
It's Monday, and there are people freaking out like right now, like I used to.
Right.
Trying to find every reason to come up with to not go to work and to call in somehow. But this is one of the rewards. This is how life is now.
Yeah.
The work is done here, whether it's over Skype. Thank you to technology. Look how we're doing this without a recording studio. Back when,
Assuming
in
we're
the day,
recording
you
right
had to
now.
be in a studio recording, and I had to do it with audio. You had to do it with TV, right? But we're able to do this at such quality, sitting outside by the pool, without wires and electricity and all that. So there were so many advantages and benefits and blessings. But other than the lifestyle created, going from, like I was telling you earlier and yesterday at our party, from 20 hours a day awake, 7 days a week, doing 3 jobs and building my practice was the third one. And then doing gigs 3-4 nights a week, and then the dental lab all day, 60 hours a week or more. Um, the contrast is amazing and appreciated, and the gratitude is strong because of coming from there to here.
Yeah.
But the thing that maintains, the thing that's consistent, the thing that will always be, I believe, if you're doing this for the right reason, is the reward of the result of the client's progress and outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else is there other than that matters most?
And I would just say, the quickness with which results can be achieved gives almost instant gratification to both parties. As the hypnotist, you get feedback quite quickly.
Oh, sure. Effective, expedient, natural, therefore safe. But yet it's a process. One of the biggest mistakes, people ask me, what do you think the biggest mistake a client makes? They don't do enough work.
Mm.
They think, okay, I'm fine. Oh, I feel better. I feel better, but doesn't mean everything's done.
Right.
It doesn't mean there isn't more behind that. It doesn't mean that it's your new conditioned habitual way, because the old habits still linger. So one of the things they do is they quit too soon. And it's the hypnotist's responsibility to let people know this.
So what do you suggest to your clients in terms of ways to perpetuate or keep the advancement going? What are the takeaways, the take-home tools that you espouse?
In order for them to maintain their outcomes?
Yeah. Or to improve upon what they've already got.
Well, we teach them self-hypnosis, yeah.
Right.
And any other techniques that they can apply that are, mind-based, imagery-based, NLP-based. Teach them a few collapsing anchor techniques or backward spin or something like this, right? Excuse me there. I knew the music wasn't on. I wanted to hear it. So that's the other thing. We also have spa music playing in the background, so we could just be all chilled.
It's a complete package, my friend.
Yeah, man. So, it's empowering people. I tell people all the time when I explain my programs to them in our strategy call, and I'm going to do as much as I can without overwhelming you, because then they'll do nothing. For you to feel empowered. And I avoid the word control. For you to have a sense of control while you learn how to manage what's going on inside.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts and feelings and what we call subconscious mind.
No need to control if you're managing it well.
Yeah, well, control is arrogant, right? Control is I'm in control. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? That ego word?
Yeah.
I'm not in control. I don't breathe me. I don't beat my heart. I listen, I interact, and I manage using what I've learned helps and works and creates outcomes. And it's a nice balance.
Yeah, I like that. What I often ponder. It may be kind of a fool's errand in the sense that I'm not sure where ultimately you can go with this, but I often ponder, why we can be hypnotized. Why is it that, what is this built-in facility that I believe really does exist in all of us because of
Of course it
the
does. It's
natural the
natural.
natural states that we go
It's a
into.
natural phenomenon.
Exactly. I always say that it's organic
Of course.
and but why do you think it's there? You think? I mean, I know that's a very vague question in a sense, but to just
Well, it's
flesh
very
it out.
philosophical, isn't it?
Yeah.
But my immediate response to that, and as we've discussed before and talked a lot about yesterday into last night, um, there's a place I go to more often than a lot of people. So I believe that we have these abilities because we are able to still stay connected to who we really are, what we really are, where we're really from, which isn't this physical, tangible thing. This is not. This isn't it. This isn't it at all.
Yeah.
This is an experience that we're here to have from another place.
Right.
So we're able to meditate or daydream or dream or spirit walk or use hypnosis or any facility you want to use or any modality or method for us to stay connected to that spirit side, the invisible, intangible, the truth, the real side in my belief system.
So you see hypnosis as a pipeline to a different level of consciousness, a different level of experience. I agree with that. I mean, I think it's just fascinating that it's there in the first place. That and maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't be so astounded or fascinated in that regard. So much is complete within us already in terms of systems and the logic of how things work within us
Yeah,
in
but see,
terms.
there's no logic. Is it logical you're breathing? Is it logical that, I mean, the brain chemistry is balanced and our nervous system knows how to run like it does? What's running it? That's where now we have philosophy and theories and belief systems and all of that.
Yeah.
But to me, that's not logical at all. That's a constant phenomenon, an overwhelming, unfathomable phenomenon. Like how does somebody give up the will to live? All of a sudden, they just decide somehow, somewhere, at some level, I'm done. Though medically, physiologically, biologically, physically, whatever, there's no reason whatsoever, none. So there's something else going on that we get to interact with.
I guess where I was going was that I mean I come from a not what I call a non-theistic
Sure.
background. I didn't have any programming about God. My father was an
Yeah, yeah.
atheist, and
Well, it's
culture.
not some white guy in a beard in the sky.
Well, that's the way most people are taught, though, and I didn't get that at all.
I
That
know,
was there
right?
was zero of that in my life. But yet, I've in I guess looking at hypnosis and other things, I am not so sure that there isn't some intelligence there by some sort of a type of logic on a higher level. Maybe logic is too rigid a word, but that there's
Or too
intelligence.
limiting of a word.
Maybe too limiting of a word, but there is
A
some.
brilliance, a true brilliance
Yeah,
that
yeah.
exists.
It's like almost it's beyond spectacular that we have this mechanism inside of us, what I call a reboot mechanism to, keep the analogy of computers going, that we can use to essentially defrag the hard drive of
Sure.
the mind,
Mhm.
and do much more than that, of course. But that's where I go. It's like, why would this be there? It's just like
To
some
be
sort
used.
of gift. Yeah, yeah,
It's there to be used. And it's used, as we know, whether people realize it's being used or not. It's like gravity. It's working whether you believe in it, it's working whether you know how it works, and it's working in spite of what you believe. This process we call hypnosis is an ongoing, natural process that people are affected by constantly. We could call it influence, persuasion, power, suggestion, all kinds of different things. But it exists, it's working, it's happening always. And when you understand that, you use it with intention, now you're living on purpose rather than stumbling through life by accident,
yeah.
with your fingers crossed, hoping and wishing your way. You're actually living with some focus and direction
Intention.
and intention, and then you create intentional outcomes.
Amazing.
And I've lived both sides of it, man. And I'll tell you what, forcing and struggling and beating it to death is not the way.
Do you think
This is better than the other way.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I agree with that. We're in this beautiful backyard. You're only seeing part of it here, but there's a gorgeous pool behind us and a great outdoor setting. It's wonderful. Um, I think we're probably somewhat typical. Do you think of other hypnotists who did other things before in life and came to
Yeah,
this profession?
yeah, because we don't have representatives at these college fairs and such, or even at the high school level, letting them know that this is a professional, ethical, legitimate profession. You know, this is something that you can look at early in life, but people don't become aware of it until they either come across it from personal use,
Right.
out of need, or they heard about it along the
Anecdotally,
way.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so the profession isn't uh, doing part of their job of letting people know. So it becomes a second or third career or part time addition to something. Yeah, I'd love to see organizations have representatives at the high school, college level, letting them know that this is a profession. You can actually live a lot better, you can work a lot smarter, you can have a tremendous profit margin while influencing your community and the world around you in a very positive, healthy way.
Yeah, it's a profession too. Well, I wouldn't say unlike many others. I think, although it doesn't necessarily have to be that way with others, but I think I look at this as a profession of wonderment. You
Mm.
know that I am still in awe of what this does 14
Oh, there's
years
so
later.
far to go. Oh my God, there's so far. We're in the ground floor still, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's not exciting.
Yeah.
It's not wondrous. Um, so tell me about your life. You a little bit more about your life. You went through this tough thing in your life. How did hypnosis help you with that? How did, or related modalities or processes, how
Hmm.
did you deal with that? Can you talk about that a little bit? You've been so open.
Sure, sure. Like people ask me, like for those who don't know, I have a situation here at one of my eyes. And it was 4.5 years ago. I was in my house upstairs, in my music room. I turned too quickly and I tripped and I fell face first holding a glass, and a wine glass, and it shattered. And the stem went up through my eye and almost into my brain. They were actually prepping me for the second operation to deal with the brain cavity, and they didn't have to do that. So I was very, very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. I mean, it could be I wouldn't know how to sit here and add, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, using hypnosis beforehand and thinking more big picture and beyond allowed me to go through it very differently. I even said to the guy that was with you, he was up here from New Jersey, we were, doing some advanced training, and at night we were playing music. And I just said, all right, let's just go. I'll tell you where to go. I put a big towel on my face and I said, we'll get stitched up and come back and we'll record that. He looked at me and went, I don't think so, man. I go, yeah, it's all right, come on. So then one thing leads to another, and here it is in January in New Hampshire, and all of a sudden I'm freezing because I'm outside and they're putting me in an ambulance to wheel me to Boston to Mass Eye and Air. So here's my attitude about it all. The doctor says to me after hours of not leaving me alone, and I just want to be left alone now. Look, we're going to operate, and you need to know you're not going to see out of that eye. But people drive legally, and they even fly planes. And I said, well, that's great. And he said, why? I said, because I can't fly one now. And he looked at me, he goes, you're going to be all right. But it was tremendously challenging. It still has its challenges. I mean, still 4.5 years later, it really has its challenges. But I believe that when we don't listen, when we don't pay attention, we're being subtly, very subtly spoken to through feeling, intuition, first thought, inspiration. Well, the call comes louder. So when we have these situations that we call illness or disease or accident or trauma or tragedy, it's an opportunity to be forced back to yourself. So I had to focus on me. I had to come back to me. I had to, basically get my shit together again, as it were. Like, what are you doing? Where are you headed? What's going on? Why does this even happen? Because all things happen for a reason, a purpose. And I found all the blessings. What I talk, and I walk my talk. Now I really showed that I walk my talk. And then 2 years after that, left side of my face is paralyzed. My left arm's paralyzed. I have Bell's palsy. I'm still working my way through that 2 years later, 2 years and a month. where I still have some paralysis lingering, but I'm still working through it. But it put me on a more wholesome path, working with a master herbalist and a lot of very healthy, organic and holistic modalities. I don't go to the doctor unless it's a must for them to be involved. And I heal much better than I ever did. I'm healthier than I had been in the past. But anyway, so these tragedies really have a purpose, you know. It brings you back to yourself, forces you to look at your life with intention and meaning, what you're doing, how you're being, how you're acting. And again, it lets you prove and demonstrate without any words, for actions speak louder than words, how you really do address things in life. Do you suck it up and really say what you talk about for so long? So now my clients, they listen and the message is received differently now, right? So when I say something, they know I'm not full of shit. They know it's not a lot of hot air.
You've walked the walk.
They know that I'm legit.
Yeah.
Though I was before, but now
This
they can
legitimizes
believe
you
it because of a physical situation or two physical situations still, right? And to make light of it, you know? You know, not to hide from it, not to not talk about it and then be upset if people say anything. It's like, yeah, whatever.
It's a phenomenal
Like
response.
I said, I'll keep an eye out for you.
Yeah, yeah. The eyes have it. The profound way that you dealt with this is really inspirational to me. I mean, you know, one can't help but ask themselves, if you've seen somebody go through something like you have, you know, how would I do with this, right? And to know that you can really transcend this. And actually, I think what I'm hearing is even greater joy of life. You know, not that I knew.
Different appreciation.
Yeah, yeah.
Different respect.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from you. You know, in terms of just noticing and experiencing and this amazing journey.
Hopefully, it helps you slow down a little.
Yeah. That's a real challenge in today's world.
Right.
It leads me to a question, actually. What do you think is unique, if you do in any way? I want to lead, but do you think we live in unique times that have a greater calling for this kind of process of hypnosis?
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that?
From what I gather in the material I read, and the, I'll say, ceremonial processes and situations that I've been in, to really reach, to learn, I believe what a lot of people write about, and the person that's coming to mind quickly is Steve Rother, Rother. You hear and you can see, especially on like Gaia TV, shows about indigo children and crystal children, and how we know that humanity's shifting, it's adjusting, it's changing. We had the New Age movement for the last, 30-ish years or so, right? I mean, there were no Deepak Chopras and Wayne Dyers and Greg Bradens and Bruce Liptons, but there's a need, there's a necessity for humanity to make this shift, I believe, because it wasn't going anywhere really good, was it, for a while? And that was shifting into different dimension. In Steve Rother's book, either Welcome Home or Remember, I forget which of the two, he channels the group of energies called the group, and they say we're going from a 3-dimension to a 5-dimension world. And when you look at these indigo and crystal children, the phenomena, the brilliance, the talents, the skills, and I'm talking 5 to 9-year-old children having abilities that are beyond explanation, totally beyond explanation. Not they're good for a kid, beyond explanation. So there is something going on where there's a shift happening, I believe.
We're transcending.
Yeah, ascending.
Or ascending.
You know, for sure, there's some transformation happening.
And yet you see, you know, all of the woes of the world, you know, I mean, at the same time, maybe this is still part of the fits and throes of this evolution.
Well, imagine if you're tilling a garden. I don't know why this popped in my head. Underneath that complex world, they're freaking out. Like, what are they doing to our home? This is a beautiful place. Everything's great. But in order to make it better, you've got to dismantle it a little bit. You got to toss it, and turn it, and you got to prep it and get it ready for the next wave, the next stage, the next phase. And maybe that's what's going on in humanity in the world itself. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of fertilizer out there.
Right.
just keeping the metaphor going.
Right.
But it's no. I mean, clearly you've used it. Coming full circle back to what we were saying before. Clearly, you've really taken advantage of what you know, what you've learned, and how to improve your life. Which is such a
Still working on it.
well, sure. I mean, but you're walking the walk, and that's really, really key. What do you think
But you know what though? I don't know any other way. That's old school upbringing, as you know. Very blue collar. 5 o'clock, you're at the dinner table. If you messed up, you got a backhander.
Right.
That's the way it was.
Right.
And if you said something, you had to do it. That was your word. So you better not be saying shit if you're not going to do it, man.
Yeah.
Don't be talking.
Accountable
For sure. And integrity is doing the right thing even when you're alone. So when
Yeah.
I'm out here all alone, I'm in the house all alone, I'm working as an entrepreneur all alone, you still do the right thing because that's what matters.
Yeah.
And then that was something I was, oh my God, that was conditioning. That was my old man being a hypnotist, and all those suggestions and all of that compounding of the message. And it's in me. It's just part of me. I mean, I don't see any other way.
So you attribute a lot of your perspective on hypnosis and the freedom that it's given you and the appreciation that it's given you to, in a sense, the rigidity of childhood or the
Well, the foundation in which to become, I believe, an ethical and professional facilitator. That my background in that way of, say, character building and whatever allows me to be a better professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you be a better professional without ethics and standards and integrity and self-motivation and all of that?
So the key, if you could come up with, speaking of that, a key descriptor of what you think, or maybe let's say the top 3 descriptives of what you think makes a hypnotist successful, or makes his clients successful by extension.
In what way do you mean successful, though?
Well, to get to their goals on some level, to help them get there. I mean,
Are we talking financial success? Are we talking?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
I think really in goals in general.
Okay.
I mean, I see, creativity, which you clearly have. You're a creative person as a musician, and you have that sensibility. I think we share that. I'm aligned the same way, so we speak a similar language. I think persuasiveness, don't you think, is important?
Yeah, that little bit of swag or charisma or rapport building.
Right.
The ability to create rapport is such a necessity. So if you have that as a natural part of you, which I've always had, like I've always known and admitted that I'm a ham. Give me a mic, give me a stage, give me people, I'm in.
I've seen the pictures of you with your guitar
I'm
behind
in,
you.
like I love it. So of course that's an advantage, no doubt about it. And the ability to be able to create rapport quickly and naturally and more comfortably. Where some people really have to kind of work at that to learn how to.
Besides NLP techniques to achieve rapport, how else do you think? I mean, let's say you never knew NLP, for example. How do you think you, as Tom Nicoli, creates rapport? What is it about you uniquely that?
Well, not the appearance of, but the sense. The person really sensing and knowing that you truly are listening to what they have to say, and also humor. Humor helps so much to get rapport.
Yeah.
Breaks down the tensions.
Yeah.
The people being reserved, and lighten it up. I lighten it up right from the get-go.
Same here.
I'll leave all that stuff out there. Come on in.
I'll tell one of my stupid jokes just to get a smile and change their mental state, and make because when you're smiling inside, you're ready to go in. It's like it's just okay. I'm working with this. I feel good. That's really fascinating.
Well, plus people are more receptive when there's humor. Like a good speaker will throw a little humor in there. I throw a few cartoons up. I saw Jack Canfield do this at Mandalay Bay. We have about 6,000 people there. And he said, so you know why I put those cartoons up? That meant nothing? Because I once read that when you're in a good mood, you learn better.
Right.
So your defenses are down, you feel comfortable and open.
Yeah.
And you already are welcoming what's coming, so you'll welcome what's coming next.
Well, and humor also is some sort of tacit acknowledgement that we're laughing at the same thing. I get what you're laughing at. You get what I'm laughing
Instant
at. We don't
rapport.
have to say it. Instant rapport. And again, you're in that positive state of mind. Yeah.
Well, I'll ask people, so how much research have you done on me or my work? Well, no, so and so said I should come see you. Or, when I called you, and here I am. And I go, you still came, really? Hmm.
Have they done the research?
And no one's done this. Like, oh, maybe I should have. No one's done that yet.
Well, that's an interesting thought.
Like,
too.
they get my point. They're like, right, yeah, I'm silly me.
So, what do you think? I mean, if there was a piece of advice that you could convey to people who are watching this, about what you think goes on in the first time hypnosis clients experience, what do you think they're?
Well, it depends which of the three or so type of clients that came in. Person who's experienced this in the past with someone else, so you already figure it's going to be better.
Right.
Because the way it goes is they've probably experienced the most basic approach. And you're going to probably deliver something that's going to be even a little better than what they've experienced in the past. And they've already preconditioned, they warmed up a little bit, some of the misconceptions, though I'll still explain stuff. And you're like, I never knew that one. Nobody ever told me that. So I still want to have that clarity. So you get that person. Then you get the person who was referred, so they're already comfortable because they really trust the referral. And they might have poked around and done some work. And then there's the person that just shows up. They don't know what the hell to expect. They have all the misconceptions. And I tell them, you know what? Good for you. You still came and you're going to follow through. You're going to benefit greatly.
Yeah.
Is that true? Well, yeah, I just said it, so it's probably going to be true. Right?
Well,
Like, aren't those the three groups usually you get?
Yeah. What I guess I experience, it's very funny. It's hard to put into words, but I think when a client comes in, I drop all judgment. I may find myself in judgment outside, but it's just like there's a human being sitting there,
Right, that's
and
it.
they're just spilling their heart out. They're talking to me about what they want to accomplish, whether it's something like quitting smoking or overcoming a trauma. It can be the full gamut of human experience. But I know that I feel like a bond. I'm sitting with another human being. Outside, I will find myself being more judgmental sometimes. It's an interesting
Right.
transition.
Well, I'm glad you have it in the right place.
Yeah,
Leave it outside where it belongs.
Right.
But we're just here, and I tell them, you're the only one in the world that matters right now. I'm not thinking about anyone else or anything else.
That's great. I like that.
This is all that matters. I heard something once from my buddy Dan Bitchoff in Pittsburgh. And Dan works with our sharpshooters on the Olympic team. He was in Beijing when they got the 2 gold medals.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, you want to change the energy between you and your client and get rapport quickly and set the proper atmosphere. Find something you love about them, even if it's the scarf they're wearing.
Yeah.
Because when you think, wow, that's beautiful, this whole vibe, the emission of your energy, which is your thought and feelings, the vibration they feel is going to change immediately.
Yeah.
But make it love, that vibration. And I think that's beautiful then. So it could be the hair, and be authentic and genuine and even compliment them on something. And everything changes.
And I was going to say, by extension, that yes, there's always something positive that can set a greater rapport in motion with that person. But also, people tend to be their harshest own critics.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I love me more than anybody else, and people love me. If I don't love you, who's gonna? The world treats you the way you treat yourself.
That's right.
So if I don't think I'm adorable and intelligent and fun and witty, then who's going to?
Yeah.
I'm going to decrease that odds of that being whatever people feel and see, because I'm already in the way. I'm already blocking some of it. The hawks flying over. Hear that?
I hear it.
It's
is it a monkey or a hawk?
Very
I don't know.
strange. Pardon?
Is it a monkey or a hawk?
I know, right? That's a whole different freaking story. The monkey.
Chapter 2.
The monkey in my woods. The monkey in my woods.
There was a monkey in the woods. Okay.
We'll leave
Up
it
here
at
in
that.
Wyndham,
We'll leave
New
it at that
Hampshire.
for the next show. The monkey in my friggin' woods.
There's a title there, I think, for a movie.
There's a book or something in there. Should have been here last night.
You had me going, I'll tell you. But the I often, when I'm getting somebody's life story, life history before we start our first session or second, there's always something in there that is really heroic on some level.
Sure.
People have endured, without even realizing that they've
Oh,
endured,
right.
and how powerful that is to frame it that
The
way.
people that you walk by every day, the things they've been through that you don't even know.
I have a guy who is coming to me, had a head trauma, and the trauma affected his ability to perform in a particular um, left brain intensive industry. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from I think a fairly well-to-do background. I mean, not wealthy, but well enough. And now finds himself in this dilemma, trying to deal with the effects of this head trauma. And he tells me that he's taken a job working as essentially a store clerk. He's a highly educated guy to support his family. And I said, man, is that heroic? Is that powerful? This guy was not ashamed to do this work,
Mm-hmm.
and to bring these things out to clients, I think really is, it's
They
really
overlook that stuff.
how they overlook it exactly.
Yeah.
It's like completely missing this.
People do great things all the time,
Yeah.
and they don't think of it as such.
Exactly. Why is that?
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why. If you want to, as they say, want to build, start a crowd, start a fight or a fire. I don't know why people watch MMA cage fighting and get entertained by watching somebody get their face punched in. I don't know why people are their own worst critic instead of their greatest love. I don't know what that part of humanity is. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get how somebody can have inside of them the ability to cut off somebody's head, or go ahead and keep beating someone after they've been physically abused and bleeding, and there's something inside of you that is this rage. I mean, that side of human nature I don't get, and it's sad. It's disappointing. It's unfortunate that it exists, but it does. So therefore, knowing that, it's our responsibility to enlighten people as to how beautiful they really are. I tell them, look, whether you're a butterfly or a flower or a little girl or boy that got older and bigger and dopier, all of life is beautiful and precious and worthy and deserving. Whether it's the butterfly or that little child, you are that child, you just forgot. Look in the maternity ward or look in the classroom and there's you. That's what's in the mirror. You're just bigger and dopier. But it still is beautiful. It still is precious. It still is worthy and deserving as anything that it was, 30, 40, 56 years ago.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden, because you're older, you think you don't deserve like you did when you were a child? I'll ask him, does the child deserve anything? Well, yeah, it's a child. Oh, were you ever a child? I mean, aren't you the child that got bigger? Don't you still deserve?
Yeah.
I mean, you're so horrible, you can't have whatever you want?
Yeah. It's losing track of our prime directives, I guess.
It took me a while to get there, man.
Yeah.
I had to learn all that too,
But that's what makes it valuable too, when you've evolved into it. When you just, if it was always your state of mind, it wouldn't mean as much as having discovered it.
No.
You have to go through that bumpy road in order to figure out what really matters. I think it puts it into.
Well, that's another beautiful thing. I tell all my clients when they did everything that doesn't work, I go, well, good for you. See, you should be glad, and I want you to thank your younger self, because that's the person who did everything you've done, you found doesn't work.
Right.
Now you know what not to do. You're that much closer, so let's move forward.
Right.
Instead of, I suck, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I keep doing this and I keep doing that. I'm like, good, that's great. Now you know what not to do, right?
Exactly. We do that with smokers all the time. You fail, you know what, you learn from that. That's a learning experience. That teaches you what not to do the next time. It's all progress. Exactly.
But it's reframing it all the time. I think we should be called reframe masters. We reframe the way they're thinking, the way they're seeing things, their perception. We reframe what they were taught and what they were told, their belief systems that run deep. We reframe this horrible illusion and smokescreen and BS that we call our society and our culture, that's just manipulating people to do what the culture wants you to do and be. As George Carlin says, they don't want free thinkers. What are you kidding me? It's an illusion. You have choice. Paper or plastic? Come on, you have choice. Which one do you want?
That's right.
You don't get to choose much, do you?
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like wake up and then look at it all differently. And you don't have to be right. Isn't that the biggest issue that we have to get over with our clients?
Attachment to being right.
They have to be right.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't give a shit if I'm right as long as I'm better.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd rather be better than right.
Right is ego, better is the real result.
Who
It's the
cares
real
if
thing.
you're right if you go better?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you're not getting better, why do you want to be right?
No, but a lot of people would rather be right than better.
I know a lot of people rather have a title than an increase in salary.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Pay me and don't know me.
There you go. Right. I'll be fine with that. Thank you very much. Listen, pal, this is really a fantastic
Yeah.
segment here. I'm just afraid we're going to run out of space, and I'm hoping that this is framed properly. Hopefully, it is. Tom, just give your information.
Yeah, if you
again.
want to get some information and you want to chat, go on Facebook and type in Tom Nicoli or Better You Hypnosis or Master Visionary. Go to mastervisionary.com or Prosper USA, PROSPERUSA.com. And poke around, send a few messages, let me know that you're actually out there. And hopefully you gathered something good from this. Just keep watching what Bob's going to be doing because there are a whole lot of good people coming along. And you'll want to hear about it. So, until next time, I'm Tom Nicoli.